2, and here's Modi. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah, drop louder. It's great to be here in the studio. We have Eitan Levine.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
Doing great.
Yeah.
Doing good.
And we have Periel and Leo, and we are ready to rock and roll. You are like, you're like a Jew on crack.
Yeah.
Everything is Jewy wooey about you. You're Jewy on the street with TikTok. Jewy Grant to do a YouTube video.
I'll chase the money. That's I find where the piles of money are, and then I figure out a way to extract that money, which Jews have a lot of piles of money. They like sponsoring content.
Yes, and doing shows. I always talk about that. We're always raising money for all kinds of events and all kinds of things, and you're tapping into it. Where are you from? Let's get the audience know who you are.
Springfield, New Jersey. Well, I was born in New York, then grew up in Springfield, New Jersey. I went to yeshiva.
Which one?
JC.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know it?
Yeah. I mean, I know of it. Yeah.
It's my dad went there. I was second generation there, and then
Of course he did.
Yeah, well, he was the first. He was supposed to go to Frisch's first class in Teaneck, but then he decided it was too young, so it was too new of a school, so he decided to go to JC, and I think it's like a 40-minute commute both ways.
Okay.
And then I went to yeshiva for a year in Israel. I went to Yesodei HaTorah, which is no longer around. So I don't have to follow anything I learned there. No, and then afterwards I went to Yeshiva University, and then I didn't like Yeshiva University, left Yeshiva University, and I've been doing comedy since I was like 15.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And where do people see you? Where are you doing stand up?
I do a lot of stand New York, just around town. I had a show called Smoking Hot Jews with Tori Piskin at the Stand, and we're going to be doing some West Coast shows. I've been doing a lot of festivals. I was just in Anchorage, I was telling you about. I did shows over the week at the festival and then for the Anchorage synagogue. And I think the most Jewish thing of all time is that the Jews of Anchorage have...
Are we talking about Alaska?
Alaska,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They make Jews up there?
I am finding that out, that they had a few up there.
Wow. So Chabad up
There's
there.
definitely a Chabad up
And
there.
a Jewish center. So I performed. So I think that's the most Jewish thing of all time, that the Jews of Anchorage have a synagogue they go to, and then a synagogue where they're like, we don't go to that synagogue. We don't go to the Alaska Jewish Center. Those momsers over there.
Really? No, there's two in Anchorage.
Yeah, there's a
Chabad.
Chabad and a Jewish center, I think. Or
Wow.
That's
Shalom.
hilarious.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Who knew? And how many people did they get there?
I mean, there was probably like 20, 30 people. Very nice crowd. Very, very fun. They were. What was crazy was that someone had recognized me from TikTok an hour away from Anchorage and had traveled down to see, and that was fascinating to me.
He had to get like all those dogs and the whole
Yeah,
thing.
he mushed his way down.
Wow.
A prop plane landed in the parking lot to
Wow,
go.
you were a huge celebrity in Anchorage.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I'm huge there.
Wait, so hold on. So is there really a Jewish community? And what do they do? What do the Jews do in Anchorage?
That's what I was asking. A lot of people just like ended up there, and then like generations down. I think because their parents were up there. Because Alaska was like made in the end of the 50s, and then there was like oil and stuff that was up there.
Wait. What do you mean Alaska was made in the end of the 50s?
Alaska became a state in 59.
Yeah, it became a state.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Did you know that?
I can Google it, but I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure.
No,
right.
I believe you. You don't have to.
There's no need to Google.
No,
That's when it became a state.
And what was it before?
And I can double down on this and say that I made it to the finals of the Jewish Educational Center National Geographic Spelling Bee, and let me tell you, for a group of people that didn't have any education.
Alaska statehood was granted January 3rd, 1959.
Yeah.
Almost the 60s.
That's What was it before?
It wasn't a state. It was just a thing.
It was like a territory, right?
Yeah.
It was like a Puerto Rico or something. I don't know.
And what's weird, I mean, they had issues in like in World War II, where like a bunch of the islands got taken over by the Japanese.
Wow.
And stuff. Yeah.
Wow. Could you imagine?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Not that interesting, but yeah.
A B minus B.
That's a B minus interesting. More interesting than somebody recognized you from TikTok. That's much more interesting.
I'm excited for them to put that in the Anchorage Museum. By the time I showed up and someone recognized me up
But
there.
it's so good. I'm so happy there was a Jewish show in Anchorage, Alaska.
More Jews there than Des Moines. It's like because I've gotten to do shows like across the country a little bit, like festivals and stuff like that. And when I did Des Moines, the Uber driver, when I was there, I asked her, I was like, "Are there Jews in Des Moines? If I say a Jew joke, will people get it?" And she just went, "Oh my God, you're Jewish? Do you know Adam Sandler?" And
Oh my God.
just straight up, and I was like, "He's my dad."
Usually you say, where do the Jews hang out? And they say, that tree over there.
Yeah. No, the second one I asked that, he was like, the hospital.
So you're okay. So let's just get your situation for the audience here. So you do stand-up comedy.
Yes.
And you're performing in the city sometimes, and that's good. And then you run off to the end of the earth's places to do comedy and for festivals. Anybody they'll put together a few bucks for a festival.
Yep.
Very, very nice. And you're
And I will say, now that we're going, we were saying before we started recording, 2 of my favorite stand-up jokes of all time were from you, and because they were so specifically Jewish. The first one was about Hatzalah.
Yes.
The Hatzalah joke you have about how every truck has the name of anyone who ever gave $18 plastered on the side. One of which is so accurate if you've seen those Hatzalah trucks. And then the
followed up with the tagline, "It's like a wall from Yad Vashem."
It is
a wall from the Holocaust Museum. Yeah. And
by the way, I do know the person that hooked up on the birthright bus after Yad Vashem. That famous story of the person who got.
who hooked up on a
Wait,
birth-
you're
I'm not
gonna
gonna say
have
the
to
name.
fill us in.
There is in Birthright at some point they take you to go to the Holocaust Museum.
Wait, so birthright is this thing that if you're a Jew and you've never been to Israel before,
I don't think we need to explain birthright.
Well, I think that you might not be the best gauge of knowing Jewish things.
Do you? How Jewish are you?
I'm not
More
Jewish at all.
than
Yeah, that's what I
everyone.
thought. Yeah.
more Jewish, more than he's been on Birthright twice.
No, I'm waiting for my invitation for birthright. I don't know. Got lost
He
in the
could
mix.
bust out into Yiddish.
So back to Birthright,
Sorry,
people
sorry.
hooking up at Yad Vashem. What
Yeah.
happened?
On the bus ride back, there was a famous story. Someone got caught getting an HJ.
A what?
After, a hand job.
You
clean
can say
is
a
this?
hand
A
job.
hand job on the Birthright bus back after the Holocaust Museum. This is a famous story. He got
Okay,
caught.
so I'm going to, if I can find it, it's amazing. If I can't, I don't know.
What are you looking for? I'll find it.
Never mind. Somebody sent me that they had this thing for at the Holocaust Museum and like for the kids, and there was a big party afterwards with a DJ and all of this stuff. I was blown away. I'll find it, but I mean, I'm always I do comedy for things that are so sad and such a bad, diseases and organization. But this was like for a Holocaust Museum, and they had these kids and had a rave for them afterwards, and was just
I did Camp Sim. I don't put this in there. Camp Simcha, Chai Lifeline, the cancer kids.
Come in. Hold on.
He's not going
Hey!
to. Guest starring. Mateo.
I know you. How's everyone?
Hi, Mateo Lane.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Oh my God. We need to schedule something so that you're sitting in here.
We did the Cleveland Festival together.
Yes, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm on this podcast.
For those of you listening, Mateo Lane.
3 in one day.
Ooh.
And then I'm running to get acupuncture. I'll let you guys talk. Sorry.
Oh my God, it's so good seeing you.
Also, are you guys going to the party tonight?
Oh, at the cellar, yes.
Oh, we are.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely stopping by there.
Cool.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Mateo.
I wasn't invited.
We just had a guest pop in the room.
Mateo Lane just stopped by.
That's
to-
fun.
Gotham Podcast Studios is popping.
It is
Full of
poppin',
people
yeah.
coming in and out. Anyway, what were we talking about? We were talking about.
You were performing somewhere. Go ahead.
I forgot where. Des Moines. After Des Moines.
No, we were well past
Then we're talking
it.
about the
Yeah.
Holocaust.
Oh,
Museum.
I did the Jewish cancer kids. I did that fundraiser, and because I had cancer when I was younger, and I bombed that fundraiser.
Oh wow.
And I think that is so.
You had
to
cancer
bomb
when
the
you were
thing-
younger?
Yeah. And I went to that Jewish cancer camp.
Oh
I
wow.
remember
What's it called? Camp
Camp Simcha.
Camp
at all?
Simcha. Okay, yeah.
Funniest thing about that camp was that they had all these every magicians and musicians and like fire breathers. Like every day they'd have the BMX riders that would come up, and it was mostly orthodox, like really orthodox Jewish kids. And a lot of times these were like the first non-Jews that these Orthodox kids had ever met.
Right.
So like they'd go home, but their parents would be like, "How was camp?" And they'd be like, "How was camp?" I met non-Jews, and they're incredible.
Like throwing fire and
Yeah.
stuff.
Fire. And,
One was on a bike flying, you know.
So you had a personal connection to this organization.
Yeah.
and they didn't send their food back. It was really, they were great.
It was amazing. 20% tips from these BMX riders. Who would have thought?
Did you go to that camp?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
I did.
wow.
I was
What
there
kind
for
of
a bunch
cancer
years.
did you have?
A bone tumor, like a Ewing sarcoma right under my
Wow.
leg. Yeah.
And it's healed.
Yeah,
Baruch
totally.
Hashem.
Thank
Baruch
you. Yeah.
Hashem.
That's a
Thank
juiced up
God.
up there. I used to
Yeah.
call it Camp Sympathy, and one time the person in charge of the camp heard me say that, it was like, Eitan, please. This is inappropriate. We've given you so much.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
You said you have strong opinion. Well, your website says you have strong opinions about Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah,
Really?
I used to be a celebrity journalist for Elite Daily. Do you remember Elite Daily?
Yeah, sure.
No.
Yeah, I used to, and a bunch of the articles I would write, like if they were ever about Taylor Swift, until coronavirus. So like 4 years later, I used to get so much hate tweets from people because they would like. I wrote an article once about like how she wasn't invited to the VMAs one year, and then she like boycotted and didn't go, even though she was like the VMAs gave her, you know, hundreds of freaking awards over the year, and she like
Right.
1 year that she wasn't eligible, she didn't go. And I was talking about how it was like a downward spiral because she got in a fight with Kanye at the time and stuff. And then like for 5 years after, I would get hate tweets from Taylor Swift people
Oh, that's so
that were just
funny.
like, "How dare you? Like who are you compared to her?" And I'm like, I don't admit to be anywhere near her.
That's so funny. We were listening to Michelle Collins' podcast, and she used to have a similar writing sort of celebrity column, and she said the only 2 times that someone had called her and gave her angry feedback was some other person, and then a very young Taylor Swift, her mother, called Michelle Collins and told her to take this article down.
Oh my
I
God.
forget who the other person was, but yeah. So you're not the only.
That makes 100% sense. I remember one article I wrote was about how she was going out with somebody, with Tom Hiddleston. Do you remember how Tom Hiddleston was low key in the Avengers? And
Oh yeah,
yeah. And so I had a theory that they had fabricated that entire relationship because everything, it's Hollywood. They're all these things are fabricated. But what I figured out was that if you look at the first week of pictures where they were like at a concert and then they were in
They did
Rome,
everything.
everything was by the same paparazzi company. It was always from the
Oh.
same Image Direct, which was the name of
Wow.
it. So I wrote like an article about this, how every picture, I was like, this, you know, romance is a lie, like they're whatever. And Taylor Swift fans for a while also were like, how dare you think that she's lying about this? I'm
Yeah,
like, no, her
they're-
managers got together.
Those Swifties are crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, did you have all the koich to do all of that? To
Oh,
go?
yeah. I didn't know celebrity stuff. I was like a hockey journalist and stuff beforehand. So I
So
went
you
in
grew
there.
up religious,
Yeah.
and so how did you find yourself, getting immersed in pop culture and celebrity? And it was because, how was that?
Yeah, because I went to like an all boys Jewish school. I did not have the best experience in these places. But I had gotten into comedy when I was like 15.
Why
So
not?
I was-
Why didn't you have a good experience?
Listen, if you're not like an A+ student with the Hebrew stuff, then you're kind of like a second-class citizen, no matter like how much effort that you put. And I tell you, I was not that great of a student, but I could have definitely risen in the secular studies. But I couldn't because the school I went to like just didn't have enough teachers. So like I was like bogged down. And then on top of that, because I was so bad at like the Hebrew studies stuff, like there were years where I didn't have classrooms. Like full classes would just take place in the back of a library with me and 3 other kids and stuff, where teachers like wouldn't show up occasionally. And I felt like I was very much like a second thought at that place. And
Wow, that's sad.
it's very sad. I think the place hopefully has shaped up. I know one of the teachers I like more is now the principal there, and I think he's like a little bit more progressive and like aware of this stuff. But it was just not, if you're not like
Yeah, those things have an
A+.
impact on you.
Yeah, and years later, I mean, my parents didn't know when I told them later what I was going through. But it's not. I think a lot of people kind of fade away from the religious sides of those places because the communities are like so. If you don't fit in, it can be so isolating, whether intentional or not on their
absolutely.
side. So I kind of like faded away from it.
What would
Fair.
you tell a kid who was going through that now? Because probably that's still happening in a
Yeah.
lot of these places.
Find your thing, and I found my thing was comedy. Like my thing was every
Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
Follow
Taylor-
Taylor
yeah.
Swift and write about Taylor Swift. That's what you should do.
as fast as you can go, find a marketable way to read People magazine. Yeah,
But that's what I'm saying. Did you have to like sneak People magazine like under the covers at night, or were your parents
No.
okay with you looking at these things?
We were modern Orthodox. I describe it as we were like Kushner level. Like we were all,
Okay.
you know, like
Because I grew up
Yeah.
religious, not Jewish, but like I couldn't have a celebrity magazine in my
Oh,
room. Like,
Really?
What made you
Oh.
go
Yeah.
Kushner? What made you use Kushner as a
because we were like people like we were Shabbos, kosher, and then also we're Met fans. Like what is that to us? Like we had TVs in the house. The Kushner, I worked in the Kushner school
right?
in the
I
summers.
did a show there too. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Beautiful. I will say though,
gorgeous,
it's
gorgeous
this
school.
massive thing across the street from the Livingston Mall. And I remember that when one of them got indicted, because remember this whole thing where one of the Kushners filmed his brother-in-law having sex
Oh, we know. Yeah,
we
with a
know,
prostitute.
Wait,
So
I didn't know that.
Don't. Let's not. Let's just. There was a whole Google the incident of
Yeah.
the Kushner, but
there
you
was a
went
whole
to the
thing.
school.
I was working at the school when that happened, and someone ended up in prison, and a lot of kids lost their scholarship.
Wow.
Yeah, like
That's sad.
straight up, like it was that kind of, you know. We were. I knew a bunch of people that knew them. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
so talk about these Jewish or anti-Semitic videos.
Oh,
What
yeah.
was the genesis of that?
Yeah, I had started doing these man on the street interviews and
On TikTok.
I wasn't even for TikTok. It was funny. It was I was trying to beef up my YouTube presence, and I started filming just like on the street videos. And then one of the games I filmed was called Jewish or Anti-Semitic, where I just listed random things like Windows, you know, like anti-Semitic because like, don't look at me, you know, or like the Pope, for instance, the Pope, Jewish or anti-Semitic. He's Jewish. He's an old guy, sandals, yarmulke, doesn't pay taxes, like Jewish guy, right?
That's funny.
So I recorded, and one of them with another comedian named Charlie Dawson hit like 3 million views or something, like
Wow.
crazy, like truly like blasted. And then every other one that I was doing afterwards, like they all were doing super well. And at this point, you know, a lot of them have had over 1.5 million views. My own personal account went from like I wasn't trying on TikTok before, and it went from like, you know, like 1,000-ish to I think I'm like at 75,000 probably by the time.
Wow, that's amazing.
And that's like 2 months.
Yeah.
So
and they're easy. They're quick. Like the
so-
zip zip. I saw them.
yeah, it's a minute long. The thing that the next generation has over this generation is they know how to video edit way better
Oh, it's incredible.
when we do. That's the biggest thing that will change comedy going forward is kids being able to video edit in a way that we
I
can't.
agree.
Yeah.
The things that the kids are doing on TikTok on their phones,
Mm-hmm.
they have more production value on their in their pocket than all of MGM studios in the 1940s.
Absolutely.
It's like
It's
special effects and voiceovers
And they understand
and music
Yeah.
and
timing.
Wow.
They understand comedic timing in a way that I think a lot of people don't. Like,
and they can get it all within under 30 seconds. It's because no one has any patience for anything more than that.
And
No one.
comedians also think that their words are valuable. That's the thing. A lot of comedians don't like to cut down their
Yeah.
work to what it should be. It should be between 30 seconds and a minute for this
Yes.
stuff. You know.
Yes.
But you know, so I started posting them, and they all, you know, did very, very well.
So how often
nice.
do you go out, and do you hit different corners, or like
Yeah.
how do you stop people?
We go out.
You look like a Chabad shliach. Did you put on
Yeah.
tefillin?
Yeah. That's so funny. I'm the opposite, where I'm like, are you Jewish? You're like, yes. I don't want to put on tefillin though. I'm like, no, different question.
Different beard, different beard.
different channel. Yeah, we go like once every 2 weeks. They're very like easy to, you know, an hour or two of shooting, and we have like, you know, 10, 15 of them ready to go. Now, like I was talking about before, we started recording. I just picked up a grant to make this like weekly Jewish YouTube show. So now we're gonna probably be going out there like once a week to fulfill, because we want to like up them a little bit, you know,
Right.
make them a little bit cooler than what we're doing right now. But yeah, we're also trying to get like celebrity people on it, which has like been very nice. We had Talia Lichtenstein. I don't know who she is.
No.
She's one of the co-hosts of the Betches podcast. She
Oh,
has
yeah,
a
sure.
million, you know, TikTok followers because
Okay.
she was like the art of complaining, I think was like her.
That's
her thing.
hilarious.
That's
That's a
great.
great
Yeah,
title.
So we had her. We had Judy Gold on a couple.
Oh,
so
she's a good friend. Yeah.
yeah, we're trying to make stuff happen.
Very good. That's so amazing. Yeah.
Bring me out. I just filmed in Alaska. We filmed stuff while I was
You
performing
did Jewish or anti-Semitic in Alaska?
there. Yeah, what was crazy was that I was in a diner in Anchorage.
It was
and-
anti-Semitic.
Well, for the food there, yeah. The food in Anchorage is garbage.
The food in Anchorage is anti-Semitic.
I mean, how do they get food up there? It's, unless you're
insane.
killing the moose, what else are you eating?
I was asking
Fish,
this,
no?
everyone makes their own like food and like has
No.
like a freezer of stuff. They all have like a grocery store and then they also like smoke their own fish and stuff.
I would die.
I
Yeah.
watch. I would. So
Not for me.
I'll tell you.
Wither
what
away
I,
and die.
no, I even talk about it on stage. You know, I love to watch on TV. I don't watch Jewish things. I don't
Yeah.
watch. I don't. Your thing sounds amazing, but that's something I would watch.
Yeah.
I don't watch Seinfeld. I don't watch Curb.
Me
I don't
neither.
watch. It's too Jewy for me. I love to watch Goyim. I love
Yeah.
to watch.
Yeah.
And there's the Goyim of Alaska.
Some
And
of the
how they
best.
live up there. And the thing that blows my mind away is they have to order their Amazon package once a month.
Yeah.
There's only one delivery a month. That plane comes, drops it off, and gets the hell out of there.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Are you
Could
talking
you
about?
imagine? For me to put together an Amazon order, I ordered like one toothpaste, and that arrives, and it reminds me, oh, he wanted spearmint, not peppermint. So another box the next day. Oh, I forgot the dental floss. Another box the next day. These guys have to put together an order for a full month.
Yeah.
I could never live in Anchorage, Alaska.
I know for a fact, knowing my luck, I'd order like a bunch of toilet paper and someone would die getting it to me, and then I would live with that guilt forever that I tried to Amazon something over here. Are you talking about Zero Below? That show?
Is that
Or
what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah, Zero. I love that show. So there was a lady in that show that was like, she was like, I used to sleep naked, and then one time I was sleeping, and a bear fell through the roof, and I
Wow.
learn that I should never sleep naked again. And I'm like, that's the wrong lesson there.
But that's what I enjoy. Look
Yeah.
at this guy. That's what she walked away from. Just not sleeping naked. I just love it. That show, and then
The
my
Swamp
other
People?
Swamp People is the best thing
Yeah.
ever. All of them, the whole cast has one set of teeth. I love that show, and the son has to shoot him, and he never has a bullet in the gun.
Yeah.
And then, but my favorite is, I talk about it on stage also. I talk about the American pickers.
Yes. They're just going around looking through everyone's crap.
Wow, through everybody's
Yeah.
dreck. Going through dreck and just, I love those shows.
I-
I love
Do you think those
shows.
prices are at all accurate? Because they look through stuff, they're like, signs $15. You know, this one get 35 at the swap meet. Like, are they actually flipping any of this stuff?
No, they do. I think they do. I did my, those guys do know what they're doing. I mean, and they.
Can you
and
just back up a little bit? Because I haven't seen the show. Can you set the stage
It's
here?
a show. It's two guys that drive around America in states you've never heard of.
Okay.
Oh, Idaho, Missouri, Mississippi, Mrs. Gullis. Mrs. Gullis in the middle of America, and they pull up into some guy's property, 38 acres. 38 acres. That's been in the family for 5 generations. There's 2 barns and a small Pittsburgh house, right? And then, of course, the Jewish mind immediately stops at that point. You go 38 acres, 5 generations. No one developed the mall. No one did. No one did
No redevelopment.
housing and
No
some kind of
zoning.
health care. Nothing there. They go inside this
Least
guy's.
camera ready people of all time also. Some of it's like the Making a Murderer cast that like no one's had vitamin D. They all like can't walk and they're like limping out of their houses to do this. They're
And
not
they
ready.
get
Yeah.
they get it because the wife wants to start selling off the garbage, but the husband doesn't. He doesn't care. And they go and they find dreck, real garbage in this house. Like, yes, there's vintage and there's antiques and collectibles, but they find this like a part of a car, a chassis that's broken, and he offers the guy like crazy amounts of money. Like, I'll give you $800 for it. And the guy will be like, no. You're saying, how goyish can this go? No. He says, no, I'm not going to go. He didn't know he had it 2 minutes ago. The guy pulled it out of the mud, and he says to him, no. The wife is screaming, please, just sell it. Give it to him.
We don't have health care.
And it's just, and I watched the show, and I love the show.
They all look a little vitamin deficient,
Yeah.
like scurvy.
But it's that's, for me, really good television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. The
Yeah.
struggle. I don't need to watch people living in a city. I live in a city. already.
Right. I don't need to see somebody being Jewish like on Seinfeld. I got that. I'm covered on that. But to watch a guy say no to $800 a piece of garbage he didn't know he had 2 minutes ago, that I'll watch.
I don't like Curb either. I think that's probably why you put your finger on it. It's like watching a forced version of something that I grew up with already.
Right, and I don't watch Seinfeld either. And I get it; it's the biggest show in the world, and Curb is the #1 comedy for the bar of people. Whatever. I don't know. I can't sit through any of those shows. Mrs. Meisel's, none of that talks to me.
Especially because she's not Jewish.
You? Do you like watching those shows?
No.
No.
Ally.
No, it's RuPaul.
Yeah.
RuPaul and the Goyim on History Channel and Bravo. That's all I really need. That's all you really need. And documentaries about anything.
About Goyim?
About
Yeah.
Goyim.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I have a joke on stage about that. There's a documentary on Netflix about what happens if you don't have any Jewish lawyers. It's called Tiger King. Watch it. No Jews in that show at all.
That's really
Oh, what a
funny.
formative moment for all of us, Tiger King. We were all locked in our houses.
Wow.
And that Tiger King video you did, everyone lost their minds
It
over.
was such a good video. It was so.
I didn't see that.
You've never seen Modi's Tiger King video?
No.
Modi has the Yoeli character, obviously, and then he would do these television reviews, and one of them was about Tiger King. And people loved it, but it was just so funny because it's so funny to think back to me like on that time when we were all just experiencing the same thing at once. Like, yes, we were all locked at home watching Tiger King. That's why this is so funny, because I feel like that's not happening now. Like, is there anything someone's
No, people still at every conversation you go to, every dinner, every whatever you go to. At one point, someone says, "So what are you watching?" And then you got to tell them.
Yeah,
what you're
but at that
watching.
point, it was like we were all watching the same.
We were watching The Crown.
We
We
were
were
all-
watching. We were watching.
Succession?
Yes, we were watching
You should do
Crown.
one on Succession. You should
And-
do a review on Succession.
And what was the other one? The Crown. The
Reality
Tiger King.
TV.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody during the
Oh, the
pandemic we were
Gambit.
watching.
Queen's Gambit was the big thing. Right?
Yeah, it was a
Oh
whole,
yeah, that was
yeah.
another thing.
Was
It
that,
was their-
that was great.
That was
with
the chess one.
Oh,
Chess
that was
lady.
great.
But that was pandemic. We were all watching the same stuff and talking about it. It gave you what to talk about. And now everybody's watching, every crazy
The
thing.
Ukraine War. That's what we're all watching.
Wow. I can't. It's so. The Ukraine war is so cringy on so many levels.
We were with your cousin last night, and he showed us a video of a parking garage in Warsaw, and he was explaining to us that there's all these refugees in Warsaw, but they're not. The video was in the parking garage, and he's showing how all the license plates are Ukrainian, and how they're like all nice cars.
They drove
So
in.
it's-
It wasn't like they crossed the
It's
border
these
with
normal.
their bags.
Yeah.
It's these people who were just had to get in their car and leave. Which is
There's-
like
there's some-
But here's like what cringes me out. Like, so Putin now has a new general. He has this brand new general because all the other ones he fired like 100 of them because they were just not doing well. And he has this one general who's known for his brutality, as if the other ones were known for massage therapy. And this guy the picture of him is so scary.
Yeah, bad energy.
He looks like Goebbels, Himmler, and Eichmann all put into one.
Yeah.
This big beastie thing, and just what the hell? What the hell is?
It's horrible. And the thing is, and part of what's so horrific about it is, it really shines a light on what you just said, which is like, this is going on all over the world all the time. We're only paying attention now because it's like white people in nice cars.
basic. Yes, that's that's the horrible thing. Yeah.
And it's sick. I mean, I think it's part of human nature also that like when you have more
recognize-
sympathy for something that you can recognize yourself in. Like it's like you look at this, it's like it could be Chicago.
Well, I think it's Jews, but what has always been kind of
Right,
like shocking
so-
with is
right.
that all the cities are like,
Yeah, it's also-
Lvov, Kiev.
No,
Yeah.
They're all like Jewishy,
Right, so
World
that's
War
the,
II
right.
places.
So that's
Yes.
the other thing is that, and by the same token, it's also like very Holocausty.
It's
My dad
very,
can't-
of course.
My dad can't get matzah from Ukraine. That was Ukraine is one of the bigger matzah producers. You can't get shmar matzah this year from it.
That didn't help our scenario at all.
Yeah.
But because you can just go anywhere in Brooklyn or Queens,
I think he's the victim. No.
But it's very, and back then, there was no YouTube and CNN, so when 6 million are dead, you don't feel it. Over here, you see what 3 million people moving around is, and it's just so crazy, and it's like, wow. And it's losing pace. It's losing we're not watching anymore. You see that
Right.
it's not the top story anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's like whatever.
Which is sick too.
Marguerite Taylor Jones told some Democrat to eat crap, and that's the top story now.
Yeah.
And so, wow, it's just so. It kept me up last night. For some reason, I just went into the sofa and started Googling the war again. It's so sad. And this morning, of course, there was a nice fat bomb on the subway.
Shooting.
Yeah.
Wow, it was a shooting.
Shooting.
But they
Shooting
said
at
that
a
they
There
found
were
bombs
yeah,
too.
there were bombs that like they were smoking. They weren't detonated.
Detonated.
And guy dressed as an MTA worker, supposedly.
Wow.
Did it, yeah.
Wow. You see, every minute,
Sick.
you just have to enjoy every single minute.
Yeah.
Go buy that Rolex.
I should.
Yes. Well, yeah. Wow. You got that Jewish grant money.
I know. Listen, I get enough Jewish grant money. I buy myself a
how much
Rolex.
do you need for your video? Whatever. Your camera, some guy dressed like you from the vintage store, and before you know, and the rest of the money, you can go buy your Rolex.
That is like exactly my mentality.
Yeah.
I'd be like in that store.
Of course.
I gotta pay out first.
Right.
Give me when we get picked up for the second season, I'll buy it.
Okay.
That's what I'll promise you.
Modi, I feel like this is a good time for you to thank our sponsor.
Yes, we have a sponsor and we love him. It is wheelchair.com. Joey Pekarski, it's his company, wheelchair.com, folks. Please go to wheelchair.com. And he invented, Jewish guy, invented featherweight.
Feather chair.
Feather chair.
Featherweight
chair.
is a boxing category.
That's right. So this is feather
chair.
It's the lightest. Can you believe it's the lightest wheelchair in the world? Easy for you to carry, easy for whoever uses a wheelchair to carry. Wheelchair.com is sponsoring our episode, and they are amazing. And please remind me at the end to give one more shout out to him. Yeah.
And so you shouldn't break your back if you're schlepping your parents around.
Yeah,
It's useful.
the text he wrote, I wasn't like crazy about. He's like, are you having trouble helping your parents with their wheelchairs and all that stuff? It was very sad. I was like, just go for the happy. Hey, it's a light wheelchair. You know?
Look at this. Look how svelte this wheelchair
It's
is.
a great wheelchair. It really is, and it's a great company with a good foundation behind it, and the guy's a good person. So
And he
definitely.
listens to all of our episodes.
And he listens to all of our episodes. Yes.
I used to be in wheelchairs. They were too heavy. This solves
You-
the problem.
you-
Yeah.
When you were sick, you were in wheelchairs?
Yeah. I was in a wheelchair from on and off for like 15 years. Give or
Wow.
take. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I had to rebuild my entire left leg.
Wow.
How old
Okay.
were you when you got sick?
It's like 10. I
Wow.
was 10, yeah. And then I almost got, my knee was hurting, and then right by the World Trade Center, because the Twin Towers were still up, they were doing construction.
Yeah.
And we were seeing a boat captain concert on like July 3rd. And then we're walking around, and then I almost get hit by a car. I jump out of the way and land on my leg, and it hurts. And then 4th, we had a barbecue, and then the 5th, Sloan Kettering.
Wow.
Or 6th, and then 6th was the X-ray, 7th was
Wow.
or something like that. Yeah,
So that's how you knew you had it.
It's crazy how quick the turnaround was. Like,
But
yeah.
if you didn't have that accident, you wouldn't have known you had it.
Oh yeah. I mean, my mom and every Jewish person that has ever heard that story has been like, God sent that car. And,
Yeah. I've heard
Which-
a million
yeah.
stories like that. There's one guy that got, the cab hit the brakes hard and he smashed his head into that plexiglass. They went for an X-ray and they found a tumor. So it was like a miracle that the cab smashed his head into the. It'd be more of a miracle if there wasn't a tumor there. But they found the tumor.
Yeah.
So
I used to hate that stuff, but people used to always be like, "Oh, he's only giving you stuff you can handle." I'd be like, "That's
that's true though.
unfair."
What are you not like into positive thinking and stuff?
Not for that. When you're a kid, when you're 11 years old,
Yeah.
someone's like, God wants you. It always felt like God
Yeah.
wants you to go through this, and even to now, like what you said, like you don't give him a tumor. Like I didn't need just give. I don't know. It was a lot. It was a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
And I definitely remember people. I remember some other person. I remember one time said like, if it doesn't work out, like you'll be dancing in the heavens with the rabbis.
Oh my
And
God.
I was like, that sounds like not a thing that I want to be doing. and stuff. People get weird around.
They don't know how to. They don't know how to. They don't know how to speak.
Yeah, they don't know how to. It's very. You have to be very careful with all that stuff. Yeah.
They say I know a few moms who have kids who are disabled in various capacities, and they always say that they hate it when people are like, "Well, they only give special kids to special parents."
Oh God!
And it's just like, no, like
I'm not completely on your side or not, but I've seen. Look, like I've said, I've done a lot of fundraisers where a child passed away, and all of a sudden they're raising millions and millions of dollars to help kids that had what he had. And if this kid hadn't have passed away, none of this helping would have gone on. And the parents are on board with that. They're like, this is that's how they see it. So if that's how it works for the parents, yes. But you let the parents. You don't tell the parents your kid died so you can help other people.
Right.
Let the parents come to that realization. Yeah, I mean, you see. Yes, there's positive in everything, and so.
Well, you're amazing like that. You really are. Modi has this incredible ability to find the beauty and positivity. You really do. And actually, Danny Cohen. So I had.
You used to, but now you hop on the videos. She's been unhinged since I don't know when.
Yeah.
Since
people started sending you direct for Ukraine.
People sending her Twister games to send Ukrainians. She lost her mind. She completely lost her mind.
I'm getting like thousands and thousands of views on those videos. I've never.
Are you Ukrainian?
Yeah.
Is that?
No, I'm not Ukrainian at all. But my super is.
She started a gemach for. She started a gemach. She started a.
What's a gemach?
Etsy. Oh my God.
We discussed that with Force.
It's where you raise money and you bring things to send people, and so she began this for the Ukrainians.
No, she's done amazing work for Ukraine.
Amazing.
And sent literal tons of supplies.
I found out
amongst
I was Ukrainian.
the supplies were like cards for Weight Watchers.
and self-tanner.
They don't need it.
Self-tanner.
Self-tanner.
People were sent, like, I got like a moldy toothbrush, a pair of ski goggles. It's like, yes, they're coming from like the being bombed in Kiev, like hitting the Alps.
Yeah.
to hit the slopes.
You've never been a refugee in Stad?
Zermatt.
Yeah. I found out I was Ukrainian like 2 weeks into the thing.
Oh, wow.
My grandmother's from Czechoslovakia. And I assumed that her city went into like the Czech Republic or Slovakia.
Everybody's Ukrainian now.
No. I don't take on that, but her town is in Ukraine.
My grandmother was from Kletsk, which one day was Russia, one day was Poland, one day was Ukraine. The borders up there went all over.
Yeah.
So she grew up speaking Polish and Russian. Like the school one time was Polish and one time was Russian. So there was no crazy, there were no borders, which is. Putin's reason while he's going. I'm just kidding.
Which is why I'm pro that.
Which is why I support.
I have to go back and defend the homeland.
Do you have a question for him?
Yeah, we were gonna ask you. I always ask everybody, who's your rabbi? Who's your rabbi?
Who's my rabbi? Wait, is this a spiritual thing or?
It's a who would you go for advice?
If I had to pick anyone or like.
Doesn't have to be a rabbi. Just
Andy Cohen.
Andy Cohen.
That guy. Andy Cohen
from Bravo.
Wow.
If
I ever had the ability to ask anyone for consistent life advice, 1,000% this guy. This guy is very kind, it seems, but also so knowledgeable. This guy is a business mind.
Oh, he's a mogul.
Genius. Kris Jenner level genius.
Yes.
And that's saying a lot.
Yes.
Kris Jenner's take over the UN. Israel's fixed in a month. Guarantee you. In fact, it's the same thing with Andy Cohen.
Are you a Real Housewives fan?
I used to be I stopped watching just because there's so many that there's so many that comes out, but I used to watch a lot. My dad's from around Franklin Lakes, which is where Jersey was from, and then the Real Housewives of New York. It was soothing to watch because I think that's an authentic version of Jews on TV. The original,
really?
The original seasons before they made them lean into it. Bethany Frankel and all the Jewish ones from New York. They were authentically Jewish on TV. Now I think that they kind of lean into it a little bit. Yeah. They all lean into everything.
I think that is one of the more interesting things of what you're doing too. Is like you really leaned into this anti-Semitic thing in a way that I think is so brilliant.
I think that there's a line that I try to toe. There's two things. One, I don't want the series to be considered anti-Semitic, where I'm just like,
Self-hating Jew.
Yeah, and that's like for sure what it's not.
It's
and
not
I have,
at all. At all.
Yeah, and I think that's like something that like some people I've heard that feedback, and
All
it's something
right.
that
Everybody has an
yeah.
opinion.
yeah, but it's something that I've obviously tried to like make sure, but also not minimizing the concept of anything. And I think a lot of times I'm talking to people, they're like, oh, I don't look like a not to me, but they're saying like, oh, thank God I don't look like a Jew or something. So Jews there's hot Jews, like there's a bunch of hot Jews. There's as many hot Jews as there are other. Every other ethnicity. And
Right, but you're also bringing anti-Semitism into people's consciousness. I think people are anti-Semitic all the time and maybe don't even realize it. And so that's what I think is so
Which is the
interesting,
debate,
right?
though. The debate is, at what point is something ignorance or anti-Semitism? And I think that on an early video, I interviewed some people outside of the Yeshiva University basketball game. You know how the Yeshiva University team, they
they were
won
on a
50 in a
streak.
row? So we interviewed people outside, and there were some non-Jews that we interviewed, and they were shocked that there was a Jewish basketball team. And they were like, you guys playing suits? And everything. So like people in the comments section were getting after these people, like, these are anti-Semites, like how dare they? And I'm like, no, these people have never met Jews that weren't their landlords. Like, what do you expect from them?
I remember we were at some very, very posh school fundraiser for like this high school kids, and Leo was there. And he's like, "What are they raising money for?" I mean, the school was stunning. The cars outside were all Mercedes and Bentleys and all that. And like, what are they raising? I go, like, for their sports. And he goes, they have sport teams? And I go, yeah, like the basketball team. He goes, are they any good? I go, if they're playing another Jewish school, they're very good. If they're playing PS1 from Bronx, they're not going to be very good.
That's the Yeshiva League.
But he wasn't like, it wasn't from an anti-Semitic place. He's like, look at these Nebuchadnezzar-looking kids, kvetching and complaining about the sushi. So he's like, where
No, but to your point, I mean, there is a big population of people who just don't interact with Jewish people on a regular basis.
And
Did you know
So-
Jews growing up? Did you know any Jews?
I knew like one Jew growing up,
Right. See?
like as a child. I went to one bat mitzvah.
That's even a lot, I feel like, for seriously.
But that's because I lived in South Florida. Like, but I'll tell you, when we moved to Georgia in high school, I didn't know a single Jewish person.
Right. And were you surprised when you came to New York? Like, were you like, whoa?
I wasn't like, whoa, but it was something that I was like, oh, there are Jewish people here. I never saw someone like outside of an airport, maybe.
Right.
Like I never saw like a Hasidic person in
Georgia.
In Georgia. I think I maybe saw them when we like, in Miami Beach and stuff.
Yes.
Maybe like a glimpse, but it's reason people just don't have it's
Yeah.
ignorance. A lot of it isn't anti-Semitism, it's ignorance and lack of exposure.
But then
I
there
always-
is anti-Semitism out there.
I always say
Yeah,
that
so yes, definitely.
most people who aren't Jewish see Hasidic people either in airports or in hospitals.
Yeah.
Because they're always flying somewhere.
Or SeaWorld on
And
Passover.
then they but in hospitals they're always at some hospital because there's a specialist there and they've had to come to that specialist, and otherwise you never see them.
Yeah.
And anti-Semitism, it's like people, I love when I say it on stage and people just like look and I go, that's hating Jews more than you have to.
I love that line.
It's
I
like-
love that line.
That's funny.
I love that. That's so funny.
Yeah.
What was our other thank you wanted to say?
To who?
You said you had another sponsor you wanted to mention?
Oh yeah,
No,
you said
You
Who?
said remind me.
I said remind me at the end of the show.
Okay, well, we're almost at the end of the show.
There's a rival with heavy wheelchairs.
No, I just wanted to give another shout out to wheelchair.com.
Oh,
That's it,
okay.
just-
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just,
Okay.
I'm so happy they're sponsoring, and of course anybody wants to sponsor and meet up with us, and
send us some of that Jewish grant money.
yeah.
I just did videos with Aish. They gave me some money, which was nice.
I've done a million things for Aisha Torah. Aisha Torah is it's interesting. It's a twin of the yeshivas, and it's like they get people to send money, and they make like classes. So it's people who like here's some money. Go put together a class. I don't want to go to the class though.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to
What
the
class? What kind of class?
a Torah class, a
Oh,
Talmud class,
okay.
Chumash.
It's not like a challah making class.
Yeah.
That too, but like, but like, here's money. Go hire rabbis, buy them food at the class, and let
Okay,
them
okay.
just so he doesn't have to go to that.
I'm
Where
in
can
the
they What?
Sorry. I was going to say I'm in the market for Dr. Brown's to sponsor this
Ooh.
show.
The
So-
soap?
No, that's Dr.
Oh my-
Bronner.
Oh.
What kind of a Jew are you?
Oh, Dr. Brown the soda?
Yes.
He
Oh.
had one last night, actually.
Yeah,
So if
How was it?
anybody listening,
Most sugariest.
no, you can get
Soda.
diet
The
too.
diet
Even
co-
the
the
diet
diet
is
the
like
diet
drinking
cherry,
sludge.
the diet cherry is
And
amazing.
we just
So good.
I just went to recently went to Second Avenue Deli and I took a picture of the table and it had the diet cream soda.
Yeah,
And everybody's like, that's like
it's
that's
the most
that's
Jewish.
yum. It's
Yes.
so good. It's
That
so
cream
So-
soda is maybe my favorite drink, though.
So if
Yeah.
anybody listening is
Right.
from Dr. Brown's or knows anybody from Dr. Brown's, get in touch with me.
Okay.
I've been trying to get a Mashable sponsorship.
You do
what I
that
was
on your
trying to-
podcast.
That's syrup. Okay, so tell us where we can find you. And I mean, just like this is going to be an hour and a half of where we can find you.
Well, I mean, the YouTube Jewish stuff with Eitan Levine is the name that's coming out. We're releasing our episode tomorrow, so by the time this airs, it should be
What's
up.
it called?
Jewish stuff with Eitan Levine. We got a whole anthem and everything going on.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
Nice.
How's the anthem
Okay.
go?
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, I do. No, if I want you to sing it, don't play it.
Oh,
for
I
me.
can't. It's rap.
Oh, it's rap. Okay.
I had a friend of mine, Rob Tanchum, make an opening credit sequence for us.
Amazing.
Which is like very nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so where else? So there's that.
And then
Jewish stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, then the TikTok is Eitan the goalie, EITANTHEGOALIE. I used to play in the Jewish Hockey League
Wow.
for JEC. It was floor hockey. Because I'm not making this up. The insurance, they didn't want to sponsor a bunch of Jewish kids on ice, so they all agreed to just do it on basketball courts. And they're like, if you want to putz around with a hockey stick, go for it.
Oh, that's
It's the simplest
hysterical.
thing.
So your
It's
Instagram is
massive. Eitan the goalie.
Eitan the goalie.
And the TikTok's Eitan the goalie. Twitter is Eitan the goalie. All
right.
That's great.
Amazing.
Thanks for
That's
having me on.
hilarious.
I'm Modi at _live, MODI_live. I have a show coming up at Gotham Comedy. Well, the Passover tour, but May 12th, I'll be at Gotham Comedy Club. The tickets are selling out. And June 9th, I'm going to be taping at the Laugh Factory in Los Angeles. So excited. 2 shows there. Get tickets. They're at modilive.com, MODILIVE.com, or the bio in Modi_live, Leo_Vega 1.
No,
Leo, just Leo_Vega.
they can just leave me alone.
They can leave you alone, okay? And
Yeah.
then now they're gonna want to see you more. Now that you said that, now they're gonna
No.
dive
They're here for
into
you. It's
into
okay.
that.
They have to be careful with him though, because he could just delete his account with no notice.
And then she does this thing. She goes, "They can find me. They can
Periel
find me."
Ashenbrand. I know everybody keeps telling me I have to be more assertive.
Meanwhile, she's the
Periel
one that gets
Ashenbrand.
all the messages go to her, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't
Yeah.
say anything, but all the messages, everybody sends you the.
That's they're supposed to.
Yeah,
They're
but
okay.
but you make it. So
Peri-
hard to-
oh, that's right. Periel, Periel Ashenbrand. I'll come up.
And if anyone wants to get in touch with me, you can reach out to info@modilive.com. That goes directly to my inbox.
Thank you very much for being our guest.
Thanks
It
for
was a
having
lot
me.
of fun, a lot of energy, and thank you everybody for listening.
Bye.
Thank you.